Good evening, it's January 24th, 2025. It's my honor and pleasure to be sitting with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, and we're reading his book, Their Mother's Sons. Is this speaker close enough?
Yeah.
Yeah? And we're on the final chapter where Mr. Jeckovich is opening and closing his store. But before we start reading it, how are you doing today, Mr.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good.
You're looking well. Are you looking well? I like your new clothes you have on.
New clothes.
You're looking chipper. Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100. And he reads 3 newspapers each and every morning, including the Wall Street Journal, with no glasses. He's sharp as a tack, and he can shake your hand and knock you to the floor. Many of his workers will tell you that story too. So you're feeling pretty well today?
Yeah, pretty well, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, was there something there?
Oh, yeah.
Received?
From the Smith family.
Okay, a family from where?
What's it, New Mexico?
Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. This family sent you this gift a little bit early, but they want to get it to you on time for.
Now who's this?
It's an early Valentine's gift or an early or late Christmas gift. It came in from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Oh boy.
Another warm sweater.
So you got another warm sweater you can wear tomorrow.
Hold it up, John. Let's
Is this a sweater?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hold it up for
Wait a
everybody
minute.
to see.
Came from the Tuscaloosa tribe in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
Yeah, hold that up.
Wait a minute, I can't get it. I can't get it.
Well, there you go. You'll be wearing that tomorrow. It looks
That's
very
right.
nice on you, Mr.
Yeah.
Jeckovich.
Nice bright
It's
blue
gonna be
and
Yeah.
red.
beautifully warm.
I'll send him a thank you note, John.
Huh?
Send them a thank you note on your behalf.
Now where's this from?
Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. What were the people's name?
The, Smith?
Well, send him a thank you.
Adam Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you sent him a nice letter
Yeah.
thanking him, and he could just tell him he could see
That's thick.
his gift.
Feel how thick that is.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect for
Wear
this
that
cold
tomorrow.
weather. So there you go, you got another sweater to wear
Thank you
tomorrow.
very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You have another sweater to be wear tomorrow. So before I open up the book, what's your dog tag number?
No, 42165.
Okay, that's the code in the laptop to open up the book. But before we start reading about the laundromat, we had a couple questions about the time you were in the hospitals in Paris. Could you elaborate on that?
The house,
The hospital in Paris, could you tell us
yeah.
how all that went?
Well, for the wound in my shoulder and a sniper shot on my shoulder too.
How long were you in the hospital?
3 months.
3 months. And do you still have shrapnel in your leg?
They took most of it out. They
But
couldn't
some
get it
is
all.
there, yeah. And was this in right downtown Paris?
Pound Town, Paris, yeah.
Yeah. An interesting story. This is pertaining to the text we got last night pertaining to the lady in the French Resistance. Who was the lady in the French Resistance?
Renee.
Renee, tell us a little bit about Renee.
Renee was supposed to be a nun,
Roman Catholic nun.
not Catholic nun, but both brothers got killed. Her father and mother got killed, so she got distraught and went into the resistance.
Right. And let me elaborate on this a little bit. The armies in France were much larger and much more equipped than Hitler's army. But ironically, Hitler's army took over France in 36 days. And so Hitler occupied France for
4 years.
4 long, miserable years. And the question that we're answering for this fella via text was that Renee was in the convent, Roman Catholic convent, serving the Lord when she got a message that her mother and father was tortured and killed by the Nazis. And keep in mind that Renee was only in her 20s, so her parents, I assume, were just in their 40s. And then shortly thereafter that, Renee got another message sent to the convent and saying her two young brothers, still teenagers, were both tortured and killed by the Nazis. So Renee left the convent and she went to her apartment that they had in downtown Paris, and that was also an art studio. Tell us about the art studio.
Well, this is where she drew pictures, facial pictures of the top generals, German generals.
So when you went in there for the first time, there was just a lot of portraits of SS and high brass Nazi generals.
Yeah.
Why was she's a great artist? I've seen some of the portraits, but why was she painting them?
She was painting them because they were ego. They knew she was a good artist, so her reputation got around.
And what was her motivation for doing this?
Well, she's finding when those officers got talking together, they dropped a lot of good information, and she related it back to the Allies.
So she was in the French resistance, just gathering information.
Yeah, she's milking information out of these German generals.
And what finally happened to Renee?
Well, they finally found out about her and took her out and shot her.
Right. Have you been in the French resistance headquarters before?
Yeah, it was down slimy place down the hole.
It was in a sewer, basically.
Yeah.
The French resistance, France was not just lying back and taking it while Germany conquered them, but it's amazing. France had more soldiers, more equipment, and they lost the war quickly. There were all sorts of efforts in France to destabilize the German occupiers. They were doing everything from forming guerrilla warfare groups to publishing newspapers with first-hand information about the Nazi regime in them. But the only way that the Nazis were removed from France and Paris were people like Mr. Jeckovich ran them out. But they were there for 4 long years, miserable times. Unlike the strictly regulated German army, which of course did not allow anyone to high ranks unless they both were politically and racially approved, to the resistance leader, a star, described French resistance as being made up of outcasts. This included French patriots, communists, socialists, far-right groups that didn't like having Germany control Vichy France, Roman Catholic priests, students, academics, people from other countries, including anti-Nazi Germans, and of course German citizens. This was what made up the French resistance, all these I just mentioned. While there was a resistance from the beginning, it wasn't until 1942 that the French resistance became organized. Up until then, they hadn't been able to make contact with the Allies, so all their effort were pretty limited. But as time went on, the Allied countries were able to offer support, and resistance became more unified and better organized across France. So the French resistance did a good part, and once they made communications in a proper respect with the Allies, they were able to move forward. Yeah. Boy, it was something. It was something. Interesting fact about when the Nazis occupied France and Paris, Adolf Hitler wanted to take a tour to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and the workers, French workers that were running the Eiffel Tower, mysteriously broke down the elevator, so Hitler had to walk all the steps to the top. Did you walk all the steps?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question about the French resistance and the Allies moving out the Nazis. Okay. I want to get back to the book.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to read or want me to?
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right. Sally and Charlie were reluctant to come down to the store. They did not like the neighborhood, and besides, they're always too busy. I do believe Steve and Millie never mentioned the store in any context, and I knew they never saw it. It did not bother Delphine or me, as we were aware of their reaction,
19 minutes.
accepted it, and never mentioned any of it. Okay, here we go with DeLuca again. I paid the rent to DeLuca on the first and made my first payment of the note while we're down. It was a hardship for being so close to Christmas, plus the fact that we had no income to speak of. I believe we collected almost $200 before the fire, which went towards the payment on the utilities and vending supplies. As of the subcontractors, Czar and Electrical Gibbs, how was Gibbs? Electrician Gibbs, how was he?
He was a good guy, he was a good guy.
Good. And on the drywall, and Shinnis and Nardello on the plumbing. They were all paid with the exception of Shinnis, and indirectly Nardello. I imagine their promptness in responding to the boiler outage was partially motivated by the desire to get them fully compensated, and I suppose a little bit of pressure from New York. Bennett never returned to the store, and there rumors of me selling life insurance. After Shinnis completed the repairs,
He left too.
huh?
He left too.
What did he do?
He went back to Buffalo.
After Shinnis completed the repairs on the boiler and the installation of the duplex laundromat in Buffalo, he left the plumbing business and went into partnerships with his relatives in a restaurant. Nardello continued in the plumbing business. DeLuca stayed around to torment us for the entire time we operated the store, the laundry. And before it was all over, we went to court several more times, prevailing in each judgment, except the last one when we lost our lease. Not long after that, the entire East End was turned upside down, and a new convention and mall were built near the site of our laundry. The old buildings were torn down to make way for several hotels and the entire new pedestrian complex in the Civic Center. How did that turn out?
That soured up for him too.
A waste of time and
Yeah.
money. Yeah. The old fire hall was gone, as were all the old places business frequented, such as Niagara Hardware, Niagara Mohawk, New York Telephone. Whitmore Lumber. Did you go to Whitmore Lumber a lot?
Yeah, but my lumber was down in the gully, yeah.
And various other small specialty stores that had surrounded the area. In their place were sleek-looking buildings forged out of steel, concrete, and glass, which were all things to come. A new vitalized downtown section would regenerate the city and restore it to the once its former regulfing self. Like our dreams of creating something positive, the city also prone to the same dreams. And like our dreams, reality put it in a different perspective on what we would conceive it in our mind. Was the reality somewhat distorted and unlike our vision, which was so enthusiastic? We did not regret ever having gone through this period, and were justified in undertaking it, even though it was fraught with hardship and vulnerability. We both had learned much of almost 6 years we operated a store, and as adversity produced in each of us resolute courage and resourcefulness. Let's see here. Delphine had her hands full with a new baby and 3 other children who were all in school and home for lunch each day. Isn't it funny, a mother's job was taking care of the family, and all the children the mother would take to school in the morning,
Yeah,
and then she'd pick them up for lunch,
yeah.
make them lunch at home, take them back to school after lunch, and then she'd come back for them when school ended.
3 o'clock to pick them up.
Wow, what a chore. Wow. What a chore. We were all in school and home for lunch each day. She also had time to run down to the store and check on it mostly daily. Usually at night when I got home from the store around 10 p.m., she'd go down and do her laundry, and I would stay home with the children. When I was ready to leave, I would start up 3 or 4 washers, put some bleach and soap in them to clean and sanitize them, and to inform her what washer numbers were so that she could use them to do her wash.
13 minutes.
Pardon?
13.
So let me understand this. Your wife did the family's laundry there, correct?
Yeah,
And what you would do, you would purposely sanitize, say, 4 washers.
yeah,
And then you put out of order
Yeah.
tags on them. And then you told your wife they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And she'd come down. That's pretty good thinking, yeah. At times she would call me from the store and tell me the place was crowded and all the machines were going, which probably led to a host of out of order tags due to cold washes. The cold washes were because of the boiler.
yeah.
So let me ask you, once he had the fire, and it was because of the boiler,
It was not big enough.
but how about after the fire, did you replace the boiler?
No,
You kept the same boiler?
yeah.
Why didn't you put a bigger boiler in then? Because you had so many complaints of cold water?
No, we were ready to move out of there.
Okay. Okay, so you didn't put a bigger boiler in, I understand, okay. At times we would call me from the store and tell me that the place was crowded and all the machines were going, which would probably lead to a host of out of order tags to cold washes. So anyone who called about a cold wash, you had to refund their money.
Yeah.
Did a cold wash do a bad job?
Not with the soft water.
Because, you know, I hear about on the commercials all the time, wash your clothes in cold water.
Yeah,
But back then, was it programmed everyone had to have hot water?
yeah. They wanted hot water. Well, they had soft water too. Soft water was the thing that did it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know if you have soft water in a washing machine, you put half of the normal soap you would normally use at your house because soft water creates large soap suds. Also, she would call to state there was no one there, which would make me apprehensive for her being there by herself. One afternoon shift, I would get home before midnight and Delphine would have a little snack ready for me. And then I would go down to the store into 2:30 to 3:30 a.m. What'd you do at the store to 3:30 a.m.?
Fixing some of the motors.
And you're always fixing?
Yeah,
Did you have a nice workshop on the premise?
and the back room. Yeah,
Were all your tools safe there?
yeah. Well, the door was locked.
So yeah, no one ever
The
broke it?
light was out of the backyard too.
No one ever broke
No,
it?
no one broke it though.
Yeah, that's wonderful. On the midnight shift, I would leave for the store right after supper and be back by 10 to be at work by 11. So you worked the laundromat to 10 p.m. and then you rushed out to get to Kimberly Clark.
Yeah,
Okay. After a while, we got into a regular routine with the various shifts. It became a way of life for as long as we had the store. Delphine never complained or even said it was too much work and she wanted some time off. We had no social life to speak of, and the only reprieve from daily regularity was an occasional birthday or a small event at school for one of the children. When one of the children's birthday would come up, we made a big event of it at Grandma's and would be invited upstairs to join in the festivities. Rarely, Lookie and Anline and their children would come. So Lookie basically stayed away.
Yeah.
Like when he was growing up,
Yeah.
single, he stayed away of everything, right? Yeah. But he did come to visit you in Florida once.
You got visiting in Florida once?
Yeah, when he's a grown man. Remember he came by to visit you?
Yeah. Stay what, 10 minutes?
Okay, I thought he stayed at your house.
No, didn't stay at my house, no.
Okay. Did you have one relative that wanted to park an RV on your lawn?
The what?
Did you have one of the RVs from New York that wanted to park an RV on your lawn?
Yeah.
How did that go?
He said, I want to park that RV on your lawn. I said, you're not going to park that RV on the lawn. I spent a lot of time keeping that lawn good. He said, park it in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
Or park it on the driveway. The driveway is open, but park it on the driveway.
And you spent a lot of time on that lawn. You were on that lawn.
He left that thing on the long big hill.
And you were on that lawn every single day, 7 days a week, and someone wanted to park an RV on it?
Yeah.
Your grass would have been gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
didn't see that, though. He didn't
No,
see it.
no. So
No,
what
he
did they
didn't see
finally
that.
do?
No.
What did they finally do?
Put it on the driveway,
Okay,
which he should have done in the beginning.
yeah. They let's see. Iluka and Anline never came with the children, and Sally, that's your sister, right?
Yeah.
Had her own children. They gradually tapered off until she only came and looked at Adeline for Christmas Eve and Grandma's birthday. So finally it get down to they'd only come for
The holidays.
holidays, yeah.
Yeah.
The holidays and Christmas Eve were especially difficult, mainly because Steve and Millie visiting. So Steve's your brother and Millie's your sister-in-law, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Along with your children, which made everyone on edge, mostly Grandma and me. I still had to be at the store during the period, and Grandma would be irritated if I did not arrive back on time to commence the ritual of opening the presents and the buffet after. How was that buffet? Was it pretty good?
Oh, yeah. Grandma and Delphi made it up
Tell me
there.
what it consisted of.
Yeah.
What did it consist of?
What?
The buffet.
It was roast beef, ham, and stuffed cabbage, and then the dessert. Delphi and my
How about
mother,
sauerkraut?
and the sauerkraut, yeah.
But, so there's always generous amounts there.
And there's a lot of food there,
A
yeah.
lot of food. And Delphi and your mother would make it.
Yeah.
Did all your relatives like it?
Oh, yeah, well, they ate it. They
Oh,
ate
they
it.
had the rolls too.
Huh?
You had the rolls there too.
My mother made the rolls, yeah.
Okay.
She made beautiful rolls.
Did Millie help?
Oh, yeah?
Did Millie help?
No, she didn't. No. Mother this, mother that.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see. The holidays and Christmas Eve were especially difficult, mainly because Steve and Millie visiting along with their children, which made everyone on edge, mostly Grandma. Steve and Millie still did not show any interest in the store or anything related to it. Did they ever come up to it?
Well, I never talked about it. I didn't talk about it.
What were they always talking about when you seen them?
And about his job. His job, he was a headhunter, looking for people with talents.
Okay. So they're basically talking about their life
Yeah.
and not interested in your life. Steve and Millie still did not show any interest in the store or anything related to it. Instead, they were the same old condescending selves, Pauling about their social lives and the trips they had taken, most assuredly about the position of his authority he held in his place of work.
Yeah.
You actually sent your brother this book, right?
Huh?
You actually sent your brother
Yeah.
this book. What did he say after you read it? You sent your two brothers, Steve and Lucky, a book, right? This book?
They never asked back. They never answered.
never responded to
Never
it.
responded, no.
Didn't you have one guy, one Italian guy in
I sent out 5 books.
yeah, tell me who.
Huh? To all the relatives.
Okay, and then, but Joanne had you a book signing party when they first came out, and Joanne made you a cake which resembled the book, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a 75th.
You had a big turnout.
Yeah.
You had a big turnout that day. You signed all the books. That was a beautiful day.
Book signing,
Yeah, they also held at a bed and breakfast called the Oaks in Eustis, Florida, 1310 Lakeview. That was a beautiful signing, 1881 bed and breakfast. Let's see. He would go on about the difficulties he encountered with the union workforce and the steps he had taken to modify or dampen their demands. I do not think he ever realized or gave it a thought that 2 of his family members, Grandma and I, were in this group. You're in a union, and he would be talking about how he dampened the spirits of union workers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he was the management.
Yeah, but still. At times I'd be appalled at the remarks he would make and join him in bitter personal confrontation.
2:55, just under 3.
Grandma would be aggravated, and naturally I was to blame for the outburst, while Steve would sit back, smile gently, and carry on a casual conversation with Millie regarding some outlandish event they had coming up when they returned home. Of course, it would be seething at this reaction. Also, Grandma would never carry it any further outside of the original, and soon it'd be forgotten by everyone except me. So, while you're sitting there, they're just basically talking about themselves. Is that true?
Yeah.
Give us an example of what you would see.
Steve and Millie?
What was it like?
Well, Steve was a headhunter. He was looking out for people with talent and get paid for it.
I thought at that time he worked at Pittsburgh Plate Glass.
Yeah, but they sent him over to Europe and he screwed up and they fired him.
What did he do?
I don't know. He was hanging around girls. I don't know what I was doing.
Okay. And so from there, where did he go?
He went back to the headhunters.
When he came to visit for the holidays, where did they stay? In a hotel?
No, they stayed at Grandma's place.
Was there a room?
Downstairs, yeah.
Where was room?
Well, yeah. Grandma had three bedrooms.
Yeah.
I had three bedrooms.
Minute 30.
So were you happy to see when they left?
Yeah, my grandma was glad to see him go.
I see. So, but they'd be decent enough to come on every holiday, though. You know, they came on every holiday, which was nice.
Yeah. Well,
How did Lookie and Steve get along?
look at Steve. Well, they talked.
How did Adeline and Millie get along?
Not very well.
Why's that?
And Adeline was a kind of a silent person anyway. She wouldn't talk to anybody.
How did Millie and your wife get along?
Millie who?
Delphine.
Well, you know, Delphine talked to everybody.
Get along with everybody.
Yeah.
How did, okay, I understand that.
30 seconds.
But generally, it's still a nice holiday, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was a nice
I was
holiday.
glad to see him go.
But you must have been happy to see him come,
Yeah.
right?
No, this, the ritual had to go through.
It was a ritual, yeah. Wow.
10 seconds.
But it was still a nice holiday,
Yeah.
after all.
But see, that's when I had the laundromat, they didn't say nothing about it.
Oh.
No talking about it, I didn't talk about it.